Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one because we are going to be comparing two ColourPop palettes. We have the Of Quartz palette here and the Stone Cold Fox. They are similar color stories, they are very cool toned, and I did a video comparing this palette, the Of Quartz, to the That's Taupe palette, which is another one by ColourPop. So if you're interested in that video, I will link it in the cards up above. And I got a lot of messages and a couple comments asking me to compare it to the Stone Cold Fox because these two color stories are similar as well. They're both cool tones. The only difference is the size. This one has 9 colors, whereas this one has 30. So I wanted to see if I could find the 9 shades in the Of Quartz palette in the Stone Cold Fox and kind of give you a value breakdown and determine which is a better buy. I have one eye done with the Of Quartz palette and one eye done with the Stone Cold Fox palette. I'll zoom you in slightly and I'll let you guess which one's done with which. So now that you're a little bit closer, you can see both eyes. I think I did a fairly good job at duping. Like, these eye looks look very similar to me. I'm really happy with how the look came out, and I purposely tried to use the two shades in the palette that I didn't have great dupes for, and it still turned out really good. And I think the two eyes match fairly well, so I'm really happy with that. I'll let you take your guesses which eye is the Stone Cold Fox and which eye is the Of Quartz palette. Okay, I can't keep it a secret anymore. So this side is the Of Quartz palette and this side is the Stone Cold Fox. Again, I think they're rather similar, so I'm going to go through and give you the dupes in the Stone Cold Fox palette for the Of Quartz palette, and yeah, let's just get right into that. Okay, so the first shade we have in the Of Quartz palette is called Mind Games, and this is kind of like a light champagne shade. The Stone Cold Fox palette didn't have anything super similar in terms of like a light champagne. So the closest that I could find in this palette is the shade I Dig It, which is kind of a little more dark and a little more taupe. This is the shade I Dig It, and this is the shade Mind Games. So as you can see, the Of Quartz Mind Games is quite a bit brighter. Okay, so the next shade in the palette is the shade SIO, which is a light to mid-toned gray. The closest I could find in the Stone Cold Fox palette is the shade You Rock, which is right here, and it looks like it might be a little bit lighter, but not by much. Like, they're very similar. Really happy with that dupe. Then we have the shade In the Zone, which honestly swatches so terrible. Like, it's so dry. It doesn't perform terribly on the eyes, but I'm literally having to like scrape the product out of the pan to get this swatch. So this shade is like a light taupe. And to dupe this one, we have the shade Ghost Town from the Stone Cold Fox palette. This one does look darker, but I think it's because this one swatches so horribly, I literally can't build it up. Because in the pan, they look very, very similar, but the Of Quartz shade just like doesn't swatch. It's like the hardest pan ever. So for that shade in particular, I would definitely say that the Stone Cold Fox has the better quality. Next up from the Of Quartz palette, we have the shade Transform. It's like a beautiful light metallic taupe. And to dupe this one, I used the shade Baby Doll. This is the shade Baby Doll and this is the shade Transform. You can see how similar they are, especially when the light hits. Almost identical. A really nice dupe. I was happy with that one. Next up in the Of Quartz palette, this one is a rather unique shade. It's the shade Ore, and there's not really a great dupe for this one in the Stone Cold Fox. I did use this shade on my eyes though, and I was able to kind of mix a shade so that it looks more similar. The two shades that I mixed to achieve it is the shade Sediment 2B. This is it right here. It's like a deep taupe, but the shade Ore is more gray. So you can see those two shades there. This is the shade Ore and this is the shade Sediment 2B. So I added the shade Magnetic Moon on top, which is like a really bright blue toned silver, but this shade doesn't have the depth that Ore does. So I kind of mixed the two to create something that's a little more similar, and I think it worked rather well on the eyes. Like, you can see a subtle difference for sure, but I don't think they're like crazy different to the point where like I would justify going out and buying an entire new palette. So these are them mixed. They're a little more similar there. The concoction I made from the Stone Cold Fox palette is a little more bright when it hits the light, but it's much more similar when you mix those two together than those two separate shades on their own. And then we have a darker shimmery taupe. This is the shade Magmatic. And to dupe this one, I used the shade Caving In from the Stone Cold Fox palette. So this is the shade Caving In. As you can see, the Magmatic shade has a little more purple to it, but they do look rather similar. So for the next one, we have the shade Granite Access, which is a deeper taupe. This one is from the Of Quartz palette. And to dupe this one, I used the shade For Granite. This one does have a little more brown to it, whereas this one has a little more purple. And this one is also a sequin formula, so it has a little bit of like pinpoint glitter in it, but I think when you apply it to the eyes, that will definitely kind of flake off, especially if you use it in your crease and you blend it out. Next up, from the Of Quartz palette, we have the shade Opaque, and this one is really unique. I had a hard time duping this. There isn't really a dupe in the Stone Cold Fox palette. It's like a really blue toned charcoal shade. The best I could find is the shade Rumor Mill, but as you can see, the shade Opaque, which is right here, is a lot deeper and has a lot more blue to it than the shade Rumor Mill from the Stone Cold Fox. However, I did use both shades on the eyes in my outer corner, and I feel like on the eyes you can't really tell a huge difference. I was gonna add some black into that Rumor Mill shade, but I didn't find it necessary. It kind of pulled the same depth when it was applied on the eyes, so yeah, they're more similar on the eyes than I was expecting. And lastly, in the Of Quartz palette, we have the shade Rock On, which is like a sparkly metallic black, a really pretty shade. And to dupe this one, I just used the black in the Stone Cold Fox palette, which is not sparkly, but the thing is, again, with these sequin formulas, I find the little glitter particles just flake off. This one looks like it might be more intense when it comes to glitter, so maybe not, but I think if you blend it like into the outer corner, I think these two would have a similar effect. Obviously you can see this one is like more black, but I think that's because this one has like the reflect to it from the glitter particles. And yeah, those are my dupes from the Stone Cold Fox palette for the Of Quartz palette. They're not exact, but honestly, I don't think I'd be able to justify buying the Of Quartz palette if I had the Stone Cold Fox. That's just me personally. Like, if it really speaks to you and you already have the Stone Cold Fox, I mean, go right ahead, of course. It's your purchasing decision. I just don't think I would be happy with that purchase because it would just be too similar to the Stone Cold Fox for my personal collection. I was sent the product, so it's a little different because I didn't actually pay for it. So that's why I kind of wanted to do this video, to kind of help you guys if you are looking to actually spend your money on it, if it's something that would be a good purchase for you. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the eye look using both palettes. Okay friends, let's just get right into a look. I'm going to use the ColourPop of Quartz on this eye. So you guys have probably seen this in my last video, but I'll show you again. This is what the palette's looking like. So we're gonna do a cool tone smoky eye. I don't know what shades in particular I'm feeling. Maybe let's go more gray. I kind of went more taupey in my last video, so let's go more like silvery. I'm gonna start off using my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and I'm just gonna use that to prep my eyes. Then I'm gonna grab this little ColourPop brush. This is an E27. I wish they would launch their brushes as singles. I've said that like multiple times and they still haven't done it yet. I'm just gonna tap out my creases really quickly, and I'm just going to use, oh, I don't even think I told you what I used. I'm gonna use this like grayish shade. It's called SIO. Right here. I think it's silicone monoxide, and I think that's like what quartz actually is, like its chemical formula, I guess. I looked it up because I didn't know. I'm just taking that shade and applying it in my crease. I think I'm gonna keep this look rather simple. I always say that and then I come out with like a full-blown like dark smoky eye with winged liner. If I know myself, I say I'm gonna keep it simple and I never do. So I'm just gonna pack this into the crease. Then if you watch my videos frequently, you already know the drill. I am going to take my Urban Decay pressed powder. This is the Stay Naked, the Fix one. I actually really like it. And I'm just going to take a small brush and set my brow bone. And then I'm just taking what's remaining on the brush and I'm just gonna blend things out. I think I am gonna deepen the outer corner. So I'm not working on building anything up at this point. I'm just gonna buff it out. I'm also gonna take this brush by Fenty Beauty, which I love, and I'm just grabbing a little more of that shade. And I'm just using this brush to kind of run over things and make sure the blend is super seamless. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep it like that. Then I'm gonna go into this shade, which I actually had a hard time duping in the Stone Cold Fox. So I'm gonna see if I can like mix some colors in that palette to get something similar to this, but we'll see. This is the shade Opaque. I would say this is like the most unique shade in the palette. I don't think I had anything very similar in my entire collection, let alone just the Stone Cold Fox palette. It's a deep, very like blue toned gray. I'm just using this on a little packer brush and I'm just gonna put it on the outer corner. And then I'm also gonna take this little Sigma E36. That girl Shay XO made me buy this, and I'm very happy to report that it is worth all of the hype. If you don't have like a lot of eyelid space, this is actually perfect. I use it on clients very frequently, not this specific one, but I have a bunch in my kit. And even if you do have a lot of lid space and you just wanna do some more like precision crease work, this brush is perfect. So I'm just kind of bringing that color a little bit into the crease, but I'm trying to keep it mostly focused on the outer corner, like the depth, you know? I was thinking about keeping this whole look matte, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm then gonna go into I'm gonna go into first this shade here called Transform. It's like a lightish taupe, and I'm just going to apply this to the inner lid because I kind of want to keep it not super light, like I didn't want to go for the champagne color in the palette, but lighter. And then for the center and outer portion of the lid, I'm gonna go in with this center shade here called Ore, and I'm just going to apply this on the outer part that I left bare and kind of blend it into the deepest matte shade we put in the outer corner. Okay, so I think I actually am gonna go in with some gel liner and make a wing. This is the shade Mineral Girl from ColourPop. It also came in the Of Quartz collection. I just figured while I'm using the palette, I may as well also use the eyeliner that comes with it, you know? Because this liner is super creamy. I would highly recommend this shade. I didn't have as good of an experience with the other cream gel colors, but this one's quite nice. So if you're looking for an affordable gel liner, it's not black unfortunately, but I don't know the formula of the black one, so. And then I'm just gonna create a wing. Okay, so now that this side is complete, I think I'm gonna leave the look here. Let's try this side with the Stone Cold Fox palette and see if I can get it even remotely similar. I don't really have high expectations for myself. I am so red. We have a fire going because it's really cold right now, and now I'm super warm. You know when you sit in front of the fire and your cheeks get super red? That's what that is. But I was freezing, so I just sat in front of it for like an hour. So I'm just prepping my lid the same way. Okay, so first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this shade here called You Rock. This is a ColourPop E21, so it's kind of similar in shape. This one is the E27 and this is the E21. So I'm gonna use this one just because it's like clean. It doesn't look clean, but it's just stained. All of my brushes are stained. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I did on the other eye. I'm gonna pack this into the crease. And then taking my Urban Decay powder again, I'm just going to set my brow bone. I feel like I haven't chatted with you guys in so long. What's new with y'all? I would love to know. Leave it in the comments. I just got rid of the excess product that was on this Fenty brush. I only have one of them, so I just got rid of the product from the other eye and I'm using this to blend it out. Okay, so to dupe that opaque shade, it's very similar to the excuse me. It's very similar to the shade Rumor Mill, but it's a little bit darker. So I'm going to mix mostly this with a touch of black and see if that will be similar at all. I'm just using my Cinema Secrets Instant Brush Cleaner, if you're wondering how I'm using the same brushes between products. So I'm mostly gonna go in with Rumor Mill. Let's see if I can just get away with that. I don't think that's gonna be dark enough. So I'm just gonna build up that shade first and then I'll go in with a little bit of black if necessary. And I'm also just gonna go in with my Sigma E36. You know what? I don't think that needs any more depth, so I'm not gonna mix the black in. I might add it a little bit later if I find that this side needs it, but as of right now, I don't think so. Then to dupe the shade Transform, I'm gonna go into, oops, I keep doing that. This shade right here, which is called Baby Doll. And I'm just gonna apply this to the inner lid, just like I did on the other side. And then I couldn't find a dupe in the Stone Cold Fox palette, an exact dupe for that center shade called Ore. So what I'm gonna do instead is mix a little bit of Magnetic Moon and a little bit of Sediment to Be, and then maybe a little bit of Caving In. We'll see if we can get it similar. And I'm just going to apply that to the center of my lid. Honestly, that looks pretty similar. I feel it might be a little bit of a brighter silver, kind of similar, right? So I'm also going to line with the same ColourPop cream gel liner. I have a question for you guys. Has anyone listened to Red Taylor's version yet? I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, so I was really excited for it to come out. But I'll be honest, Red isn't my favorite album of hers. I still don't get me wrong, really enjoyed it, but I'm more of a Speak Now lover. Let me know what you thought about the album down below. Let me know what you thought of the All Too Well short film as well. Okay, so these are the two sides. This liner got a little bit wonky, but it is what it is. I'm gonna finish off my face and my eyes. Yeah, I do have to finish my eyes. I need mascara and lashes. And I'll be right back and then we can discuss what palette I would recommend over the other, because I do think I have gathered my final thoughts on both of them. Okay, my friends, so this is the final eye look that I created. Let me zoom you in a little bit. So this is the Of Quartz eye. And then this is the Stone Cold Fox eye. I think they look rather similar, really similar actually. This one might have a little more taupe versus this one being a little more gray, but overall, like, I can't tell a huge difference. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for creating such a similar look on both eyes because I purposely tried to use the two shades that I didn't have great dupes for, so that's these two. So I purposely tried to use those and I think it came out pretty well. Again, this one's a little more taupe, this one's a little more silvery, but it is what it is. It's pretty similar for the most part. So which one would I recommend if you're only wanting to get one? This is definitely the winner. I love this palette. I get a lot of use out of it. Not to say that this one is bad. It's just this one has more shades and it's currently 50% off on ColourPop's website. So that means that this retails for $17 US and this retails for, I think it was 14. So there's a $3 difference. You get significantly more product in this one and you get more shades. Please forgive me. It feels like there's something in this eye, but I can't see anything. So if I'm blinking a lot, that is why. Like, it feels like I have an eyelash in my eye, but I just can't get it. Oh man, that's uncomfortable. I'm gonna try to wrap this video up really quickly so that I can, you know, go take this off and try to get whatever's in my eye out of my eye. So if you have this palette and you're wondering if this would be a good buy for you, I would say no. Honestly, you have all of the shades already in the Stone Cold Fox. Save your money. Of course, if this packaging really speaks to you and you love cool tones and you know you'll get a lot of use out of this, this is smaller. It's like a smaller mini version. So if you're like wanting this for travel or something, I could definitely see that. But overall, I would say pass on this one if you already have this. And if you're looking to, you know, decide between the two, you don't have either. All of these shades are in here in some form. It's not like exact, but you see the look that I created. Like, they're pretty similar. And then you can get a bunch more shades in this one. It's just a better range of cool tones in this palette than this palette. You only get 9 shades versus 30. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I never personally go through eyeshadows. I think the pans in this one are bigger. They're definitely bigger in size. Do they have more product? So there's 1 gram per shadow in here. There's about 33 grams in this one with 30 shades. So it's slightly over a gram per shade in this one versus a gram per shade in this one. So pretty much the same amount of product, and then you get more shades in this one. So this one's a better deal, especially right now when it's 50% off. On ColourPop's website, they have all of their 30 pan palettes on sale. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Probably not like the most interesting video, but I find these kinds of videos really helpful in determining whether I want to purchase something. So I thought it would be really helpful if I provided you guys with a comparison. And yeah, I think that's it from me today. I'm gonna go rip these lashes off and try to get whatever's in my eye out. I'm very uncomfortable. So yeah, that is it from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to. If you don't, that's okay. I just really appreciate you being here. It helps out my channel so very much by you watching, so thank you. Please leave any video requests you may have in the comments down below and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!